The brother was talking about, for example, some people would do haram, but they would hide whatever haram they had from that person, a God-fearing person. So that being a mu'min in the street, in the market, at home, at the gatherings of the mu'mineen, would vibrate and delivers this iman to others. And of course, the trust that people will get from this mu'min. You know, if people see you, for example, you want to work at a place and you're a religious person, they will trust you more than those who are not religious. They trust you because you fear God, you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you fear from the akhirah. So you won't now be stealing, for example. Now, I remember a story that's in the news that one of those who had cooking shows, I don't know what's his name, and seems to be his wealth was okay, financially he was okay, but they caught him in Sainsbury's stealing fresh fish. Imagine. They caught him many times. He's been stealing, shoplifting from this supermarket. And it was in the news and newspaper. Imagine. A person who is very well known in the community, people know him, they learn from his cooking, for example. Now he is stealing from the shop. Fresh fish, how much would be the fish? 10, 20 pounds. It's not worth it. So if he was a mu'min, a true mu'min, he wouldn't touch even a single grain, barley, or anything else. He won't touch anything. Iman is where the one gains this power in fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the hereafter. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Then the advice goes to Abu Dhar, and he says to him sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, Ya Aba Dhar, ni'matani maghbunun fihima kathirun min al-nas. There are two graces, ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which they are underestimated by people. You just ignore it in somehow. As-sihhatu wal-faragh. The well-being, the healthy, and the spare time. How much time we have now to, for example, gain rewards? Every second is counted, especially in this holy month. So, as-sihhatu wal-faragh, the well-being, being healthy is something that underestimated, because usually when the one who gets ill or now paralyzed, he can't walk, he can't do anything, then the level of his ibadah would be decreased gradually. He can't do ibadah as much as when he was strong, in good condition, fit for the purpose of ibadah and so forth. But now he can't. He can't perform Hajj, for example, or the ziyarah, unless they carry him all the way. He can't join the mu'mineen in the Salat al-Jama'ah, for example. So, it's important that we make use of this opportunity that we have, alhamdulillah, healthy bodies and minds and selves. That we try to invest it as much as we can in not only worship and ibadah, in everything. In helping others, in gaining more rewards, in helping our communities and youth, our children, our community, our sisters, to help them in all matters that's required in dunya and akhirah. As I've said, qada al-hawa'ij is part of it, and also to educate them the correct education, because they are taught differently. The youth and the children at the schools and colleges, different education. So we have to bring them close to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His prophets, and we teach them the true guidelines of Muhammad wa Muhammad sallallahu alaihi. As an example, one of the ulama, a story about 60, 70 years ago, This alim, who was also a marja in that city, he gradually became ill and ill until he reached a stage that, because he had a heart attack and weak heart, so the one who has a weak heart, he cannot do lots of operations, going and coming and picking things up. So he has to be very cautious about his acts. So this alim, the doctor told him that you cannot even turn the page of the book. Alim usually sits hours reading books, revising, researching. He told him that you have to assign somebody to turn the page. Imagine, to this extent. Turning the page would affect the heart operation, subhanAllah. And then afterwards they asked him that, can he speak? He said no. It's okay, then can he say La ilaha illallah? He said no, not even La ilaha illallah, subhanAllah. To this extent that you can't even say La ilaha illallah, would affect your heart, subhanAllah. So we make use of this opportunity that as long as we have sahha and well-being and health, we try to observe as much as we can of the ibadat and the a'mal as-salih. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
With regard to the ahkam of the fasting, can we break our fast if we feel tired and weak? That happens. Especially those who work in the daytime of the month of Ramadan, they come back home, they feel tired, or study, let's say, back from college or university, and they feel weak and tired. Can we break our fast? Of course not. Weakness or tiredness is not a sign of illness. It has to be some kind of sign of illness or extreme tiredness. Extreme weakness in which, I don't say you're going to face death, but it's really, you can feel it. In this case, then you can break your fast. There was a story I think from Iran, that a girl who was in her first year or second year of fasting, and the girls would become wajib for them to fast in their 10, 11 years of age. So, the completion of 9 years. So, she called her mom that, I'm thirsty. The mom ignored the words of this girl. After many times, the mother came and saw her daughter, she can't speak or talk anymore. After a few hours, they discovered that she died, she passed away. So if it reaches that extent, especially for the children, for such a young age, they have to break the fast in this case. Otherwise, it's an extreme case in which they can't bear fasting for such hours. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. With regard to rinsing the mouth with water, for example, the only exception that you're allowed to rinse the mouth with water, and if suddenly something goes down the throat, is when you do the wudu, the madmada. You can do madmada, but you have to be careful. But just in case if something went down, then it won't make your fast batil. Other than that, it's mushkil. You have to be careful. Sometimes I want to cool down my mouth. It's hot, I'm thirsty. So just to cool down my mouth, and suddenly water goes inside, that's the mushkila. But for the madmada, because it's mustahab and for the wudu purpose, then there's no issue with it. If unintentionally drops of water go inside the throat. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Inshallah, I'll mention the masail about the zakat al-fitr and so forth in the coming nights. Today is the day of the shahada of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen Salamullah alayhi. عظم الله أجوركم. ونسأل Allah that Allah gives us the opportunity to do the ziyarah of the Imam and to stay on his path, the path of taqwa, the path of God-fearing, the path of being brave in our aqeedah and not to neglect any of the ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the Imam alayhi salam passed away as shaheed, as martyr, Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, he went into the mosque and on the minbar, being now the second Imam, representing the Imamah after his father Ali alayhi salam, the Imam, he started to say these words in his khutbah. لَقَدْ قُبِضَ اللَّيْلَةُ رَجُلٌ لم يسبقه الأولون بعمل ولم يدركه الآخرون بعمل. A man just passed away tonight in which none of the people before him or after him did the amal. What kind of amal the Imam did? This bravery in battlefield, in the jihad of A'da Allah.